Good morning, everybody. I hope that this message finds all of those who have the opportunity to view it. I hope it finds you in a positive state of mind in the process of healing your spirit and becoming stronger from the inside out. I think it's extremely important that we as individuals learn how to become holistically healthy. That's something that I think all of us struggle with at some point in some time. I know that it can get away from you. I'm right now a living testimony of the fact that you can be so caught up in trying to shore up one part of your existence that you neglect and sacrifice the work that needs to be invested in the other side. And when you have that imbalance, it's virtually impossible to be all you can be. So we want to be holistically healthy, spiritually, emotionally, psychologically, physically. We want to be together in each of those areas in order to be able to perform optimally. For those of you who are not aware of the Power Team, the Power Team is a new group that I created for individuals. It was initially created for individuals who were participated in my 3-day boot camp on success. And what I did is I decided to open it up to anyone who wanted to participate and become a part of the group. The link is on the inside. But what we're doing is we're building the edifice or the structure that is necessary to live life at the level of your design, to function in an area of phenomenal and exceptional, to exceed the social standards of average and mediocrity to live at a level of your design. And it's open to everyone who wants to participate in it. It's a membership that is kept up on a yearly basis. But anyway, I'm teaching them right now how to establish a belief system within themselves that will allow them to have the confidence that is required to go after those exceptional dreams, those huge dreams, to set goals beyond what is normal or what is average, to get out of that comfort zone. And we're dealing with a lot of different things. Once we get that, then we're going to start setting the foundations. We're going to talk about more strategic type things that will allow them to actually go after those goals. But first of all, we have to actually develop the belief system that the goals are achievable. And the first thing that I have to actually get people to do when I'm talking to them and I'm trying to get them to set their goals is to actually set goals that are huge, that are big, to dream big, to get outside of that comfort zone. Because what we tend to do is set goals that are within the comfort zone of our belief system. In other words, we set goals that we know if we go out and we put in the work, we can get. What I want people to start doing is actually understanding that if it runs through your mind, you can do it. It's capable. I mean, you're capable of doing it. It's possible, but you got to change your belief systems. You got to change who you are. You got to change the way you operate. You got to be willing to invest more of yourself. You got to be willing to sacrifice some of those things that you consider to be joys and pleasures that don't contribute to you in any way possible. So my thing is, I want to talk to you real briefly this morning, and I was trying to decide what was I going to bring to you today. This is Tuesday now. This was initially the day that I had set aside, which was going to be the weekly motivational day, but I've actually been pouring out stuff more on a consistent basis, almost daily, because I'm building up for something and I'm chasing my own dreams and my own visions, and I got goals that I've actually readjusted for this coming year, for the next 5 years, for the next 10 years. And these things are huge. They are nothing that you look at and go, okay, I can see that. The average person's not going to see that. Only somebody that has known me in the past, that have seen some things that I've done, could sit up and say, okay, it's not as crazy as it sounds. But that's where I'm at. If it's not sounding crazy to me, if I'm making a goal and I look at it and I think the vast majority of the people that see it's going to believe it, I'm not pushing myself. I'm still functioning in a place of comfort, and I refuse to do that. I refuse to operate in a place of comfort. just for the sake of it, stay tuned, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop a link to the site that shares what I call the Warrior Creed. I adopted 2 different creeds from 2 different groups, and I created it and made it my own, and I've lived by it since I've done that, and now I'm sharing it with the world. It's on the site. I'm going to be sharing it with the group, the Power Team, and I'm going to be sharing it with any client that I work with one-on-one. But it's called the Warrior's Creed, and it's adapted from the Navy SEALs Creed and the Creed of the Fellowship of the Unashamed. And like I said, I adapted it, rewrote it with certain concepts from each, but with a more totality towards everything that I probably would face in my life to challenge me. Well, anyway, let's talk about when your back is against the wall. We talk, there are these moments in time when you're going to be going through things. You're going to be pushing, you're going to be fighting, and you're going to feel a certain level of freedom. You're going to have a certain level of mobility and flexibility to move around, to get around some things. You're going to get to some points where you hit a little hard spot and you're able to back up a little bit, take a look at it, and move around. That flexibility is important because you have to optimize that flexibility. But let me tell you where you're actually going to get the greatest traction and the greatest momentum and the greatest gains. You're going to get the greatest gains and the greatest traction in those moments when your back is against the wall, when you have no way to retreat, no way to turn around. It's against you. If you don't succeed, it's a huge price to pay. And the only option you got is to lay down and fold or to fight. And it's amazing how hard you fight when there's no way to retreat, when there's nowhere to go for comfort, when you either are going to win or you're going to be destroyed. It's amazing how hard you fight. I'm sharing some things about this with the Power Team, and I shared an actual video where Les Brown is actually talking to one of his mentees who is actually doing unbelievably successful in her own right. And she's sharing about that point where she got against her back to the wall. And she reminded me of a story I read in a book, my God, a long time ago, about Cortez. When he decided, when Spain was looking to conquer Mexico, Cortez arrives with his soldiers on the shores of Mexico. And as he exits, he orders the men to burn the ships. What he's doing is he's killing the option of retreat. When you don't have an option to retreat, when there's no way you can turn and run, and your only option is to either stand and fight or fall down and fold, it's amazing the motivation you have to stay in the fight. And that's what's important. Most people I won't say most people, but one of the primary reasons that people actually lose or fail isn't because they're destined for failure. It's because they got to a moment and the fight became so intense that they couldn't see how they were going to get through it, and they quit. They gave up on themselves. They said, I can't go any further. I've been fighting for this for X amount of years. I've been fighting for this to this. If I do this, I could lose everything. They have this risk aversity. They're risk averse to certain things. There's certain things they get to and they're not willing to lose. See, the thing is, you got to sell all out to be a winner on a consistent basis. You got to sit up and say, there's nothing I'm not willing to do. There's no battle I'm not going to undertake. There's nothing I'm going to come up against that I am going to fold under. I'm going to fight through it. When I sit up and think about those ships being burned, that's what you got to do. You got to burn the ships in your life. When you arrive at one place, burn the ships. No retreat. One of my old sayings is something I heard. I can't remember where I heard it at, but I know I heard it at a young age. I was a kid, and I just adopted it, and it's something that I took with me with everything that I was taking on, and it was no surrender, no retreat. And I mean, that literally became a saying when I started to first teach and I started to first speak on a consistent basis in front of people as a young man. That was my thing. Everybody knew that was coming in the speech. No surrender, no retreat. I'm not giving in. I'm not turning back. I'm not letting go. I'm going to stay in the fight. I'm going to stand up, pay up. I'm going to do all the things that's required for me to become what I'm desiring to be. I understand that anything that I want out of life, I have to become the person that's capable. And the reason that I don't have it now is because I'm not that person yet. The reason I don't have it now is because I haven't paid my dues. The reason I don't have it now is I'm not putting in the work. And I'm going to grind, and I'm going to push, and I'm going to be that person that is deserving of what it is I'm aspiring to, that's capable of creating and achieving what I'm aspiring to, that's capable of sustaining and protecting what I'm aspiring to. I'm constantly working on things. I'm living in this place that most people don't understand, because most people are either listening to the stories that other people are writing about their life, and they're folding and identifying with the stories that other people are writing about their life, or they are telling themselves stories that are limiting them from being able to become all that they can become. When it comes to me, I don't allow anybody else to write my story. I'm writing my story, and I'm writing my story my way. I'm not writing my story to make people comfortable. I'm not writing my story to make people feel like I'm cool to hang around. I'm not writing my story in order to be liked. I'm writing my story to live out the fullness of my potential. I'm writing my story to actualize every ounce of hope and potential and power that's levied inside of my design. I refuse to walk around and minimize myself or to shrink myself in order to make other people comfortable with their mediocrity. If you're around me long enough, it's two things are going to happen. You're going to become extremely uncomfortable, and you're going to find a way to ease out of my circle, or you're going to start to stand up and start to believe that things are possible, because my life is going to reveal that to you. At my worst, my life was revealing that things are possible. I remember in 2012 when I wrote that creed that I'm talking about. I wrote it in 2012, the worst year of my life. I mean, I've had some great years, actually. I mean, life has really been good to me. I mean, I've gone through some things. I had some difficulties. I buried 2 sisters. I buried a brother-in-law. I've had my moments of loss. But I mean, when I started to lose things and I started to, crash, I went for crash. I landed on my back, flat on my back. But I love that, because Les Alexander, who is somebody I followed for so long, he's such an inspiration in the things that I do now, in watching him and knowing his story. That one thing that I can tell you, when everybody that I know that's really just doing unbelievable, sick, crazy, mad stuff, got stories. The young lady that Les had on the radio show that was talking about where she was at one point in her life, she's got a story. Went into foster care at 14 because she was a part of an abused family. I mean, she was beaten so bad that the courts determined that if they allow her to stay in the house, that either her or her father at some point wasn't going to make it to her adulthood. Either he was going to kill her or she was going to kill him. And she went into a foster care system, and yet here she is. And she's talking about what she's accomplished. Everybody, Les Brown, born in a vacant building on a linoleum floor, he and his twin brother, and adopted at 6 weeks, doesn't know his parents, never met them. But here he is, and failed in the 4th grade, failed in the 8th grade, declared to be eligible, mentally retarded, and as far as he got was to graduate high school, never went to college. But here he is, one of the highest paid public speakers in the world, worth around 65 to 70 million right now. This is what I'm talking about. Stories that if you let people talk to you and speak into your life will tell you that that means you're not capable. That your story means that you are stuck in a position of lower living, and it's a part of your lot in life, and that you can't achieve. But what I'm trying to tell you, everybody I know that's doing unbelievably exceptionally well has got a story. They come from something. They went through something. They had to hang on and survive something, but they came out of that something with a vision and a purpose that nobody can shake. See, when you survive the something, when you survive that moment when your back is against the wall, when everything seems to be against, see, the odds are against you, man. So many people count the odds and determine if the odds are against them that they shouldn't step out. Odds are not the determining factor in my life. I look at the odds and say, okay, that's who's betting against me. And anytime somebody's betting against me, it reminds me that there might be a time I'm the only one betting on me. And so that says, okay, if the odds against me, I definitely have to be for me. And I'm going for everything that's out there for me to have. There's no fear of failure because everybody fails. When I fail, I'm going to get up, dust myself off, refocus myself, readjust my strategy, and I'm going at it again. If I'm breathing, I'm still here for a reason. I still have a purpose. My purpose still has potential, and my potential is still active. I'm going to get up. I'm going to get it. My back's against the wall. I can't quit now. I can't turn around now. I can't give up now. There's no way to retreat. There's nowhere to run. No surrender, no retreat. I'm pushing through it. I'm fighting through it. I don't care how long it takes. I've taught myself. I've learned. I've spoken to my subconscious. My subconscious has communicated to my spirit that delay does not mean denial. I understand that I'm in a moment. I'm caught up. It may take me 2 years, may take me 3 years, may take me 5. It may even cost me 10. But what I can understand is that time is redeemed in purpose. When I'm working on my purpose, when I'm fighting through the difficulty and time is being taken and I'm like, man, my life is wasting away. It's not wasting away because I'm investing in every second of the day, every minute of the day, every hour of the day to become that which I was created to be. And so when I finally get there, all the time that I invested in becoming what I was designed to be, is redeemed. Tell people all the time, my past is redeemed. And they be like, what are you talking about? You talking religion? No, I'm not talking religion. I'm talking about the fact that I'm walking in the purpose that God gave me. And because I'm walking in the purpose that God gave me, every mistake I made, every wrong turn I made, all of the things that most people looked at me and said would count me out and keep me from being anything worth anything, I've redeemed it because I kept on keeping on. I kept on pushing. I kept on fighting. I refused to turn around and give up. And once I get to the point where now I'm standing in the vision, I'm living in the moment that I envisioned 20 years ago. Every second that I gave to this is redeemed. I'm telling you, it's an awesome feeling. Your back is going to be against the wall. There are going to be things that you cannot control in life. And life is going to come and it's going to kick you. It's going to knock you down. It's going to stomp on you, spit on you. It's going to show you just who is really, truly in your corner. You're going to find out that a bunch of people that's in your circle are actually there wishing for your demise. But that's okay. Life is training you how to discern. Life is training you how to value those who are in your life to elevate, empower, and support you. It's teaching you how to protect your vision and your dream from those who would seek to step on it and destroy it. You just got to learn how to learn from life. Don't allow your position to shake you. One of the best places to be is with your back against the wall. One of the best places to be is that place where there's no bridge to run back across, no door to go back through, no road to turn around and run back down. And everything that is needed in your life is beyond that battle. Everything you need to elevate yourself, everything you need to achieve your goal, everything you need to be who you are designed to be is on the other side of that battle. But see, the wonderful thing about it is you're built for the battle. You're built for this. You've got everything that it takes to stand up and become great, to do the phenomenal, to do the exceptional, to build wealth, to build your business, to save your marriage, to become more effective as a parent, to become more impactful in your community. All of those things that are going to be a part of your legacy. You're built for the battle. Your design by its very nature says you're built. For everything that you're going to go through, you have everything inside of you that's necessary. You just haven't activated it. Look, man, I get excited, no matter how many times I've done something, no matter how many times I've come up and seen a challenge, set my goals and went after it and achieved it. I get excited every time I set a new goal because it brings something to me that I never have. See, I've achieved some things when it comes to wealth. I've achieved some things when it comes to material things. I've achieved some things in business. But see, this is my first time having to come back from zero after being up there and get knocked off. I didn't slowly descend. I got knocked off and fell free fall, flat on my back. I mean, I'm shaking my head. You ever had a moment where you go, how the hell did I get here? You can't, I mean, it happens so fast that you still shaking your head trying to figure it out. And then what happened is some of the lessons my father taught me, man, and those of you who know me, when I say my father, I mean my great-grandfather who adopted me and reared me. And some of the things he taught me, man, it's about, hey, you're gonna go through some things. I remember the best lesson he ever taught me. He taught me many. One of the best lessons he ever taught me, he said, son, you're going to be in life, you're going to be one of three places. And some of you heard me say this before. In life, you're going to be in one of three places. You're either going to be going into a storm, in a storm, or coming out of one. He said the first thing you're going to want to do when you realize you're in that storm, you're in that pit, you're in that struggle, is you're going to want to look around and find somebody you can point the finger at and blame for why you're there. Don't waste your time. Blaming has no power. And 90% of the time that you discover who it is, it's you. It's something you did, a decision you make. Even when somebody may have pulled the lever, you let them into your life and gave them access to the lever. So stop looking for who to blame. You know what your number one responsibility is when you're in the storm, son? I say, what, Pops? He said, to come out a better man than when you went in. He said, if you do that, if you maximize the power of the storm to transform you, every time you're in a storm, you will not have to pursue greatness, son. It will overtake you. And that's what I do with my life. I look at it, I say, damn, I don't know how I got here, but I know how I'm getting out. I'm finna put in the work. I'm finna become focused. I know the path. I've been there before, so I'm going after it. I'm going to get it. And here's the difference, though. Here's the difference. From the first time that I set out to accomplish all these things that I've accomplished, check this out. Here's the difference. When I decided I was coming back up and I was going back to get everything that I had lost and more, the next thing that came out of my mouth was, and I'm taking as many people as I possibly can with me. And that's the difference. I'm not just living this thing by myself anymore. I'm touching lives. I'm getting people to believe that anything is possible. If you can conceive it in your mind, that's the way you were created. You were created to conceive things. When you can conceive things in your mind, that conceptualization of something that seems to be beyond what you are capable of accomplishment is God's promise or proof to you that it's possible. If you can conceive it in your mind, that's God's promise and proof that it's possible. It's nothing going to be allowed to be conceived in your mind that you cannot go after. That's torture. To have something in your mind that you can see and you want so bad but could never have. That's torture. That's not the design. That's not how the universe is set up. It's not. What happens is if you can conceive it, it's proof by the Creator that it's possible. Now you got to convince yourself that you're capable of going and getting it. And then you apply yourself. By grinding, you come up with a strategy. You look at it and say, okay, this is what I want to do. Now, how do I accomplish it? What am I good at? What am I exceptional at? What am I naturally good at? How can I refine that? How can I add value to it? How can I package it in a way that people will pay me for it? And then you start to move. And what happens when you do it right, you find you're getting paid to live life in your passion. Ain't nothing more fulfilling than that. I'm functioning in my purpose and people are paying me for it. That is like just awesome. There's nothing wrong with having other business endeavors because I'm a strong believer in diversifying your investments, making sure that you don't have all of your eggs in one basket. But the one thing that you've got to be invested in, and the one thing I tell people all the time, when you have your purpose and then you know your vision, the vision is not negotiable. I tell people all the time, your vision is not negotiable. The vision is what's planted there before you were ever born. If vision is planted in your DNA, it's not something you came up with. It was something that was given to you before you were born. The vision is not negotiable. So I tell people all the time when it comes to your vision, there's no plan B. One of the things that we are always taught is a part of being prepared is having a plan B. Now, if you got businesses, Maybe you want a plan B, a business or whatever, and you got diverse, a diverse portfolio that you're investing in a number of different things. You might want a plan B, a plan C, or whatever. But when you're talking about living life in your purpose, there's no plan B. Plan B means that I didn't stand up and walk in my purpose, and I'm not living the fullness of my design. That's not an option for me. So there is no plan. I don't give myself that. A plan B is a road of retreat. Remember, no surrender, no retreat. If God designed me to do it and gave it to me, I can do it. It might not happen when I want it to. It might not come exactly the way I thought it would, but I've got everything it takes to be it. I'm not giving in to some plan B or some settling on something else because that seems logical. No, what I did when I made the plan B was give myself permission to fail in plan A. When I don't have a plan B, there's no option but to fight through in plan A. Now, I might have to make some adjustments in my strategy. I might have to recalibrate, but I'm going for the same thing. Absolutely the same thing. It's planted there. Matter of fact, all the time I'm struggling and fighting through all the things I'm going through, that vision is what's got me settled in the darkest times. I'm living in that moment of fulfillment. I'm not living in the moment of struggle. I'm operating in the moment of struggle. I'm functioning in the moment of struggle, but I'm living in the moment of fulfillment. I know what it's going to be like when I get through the fight. That's all for now. The whole thing is we've got to learn how to tell our own story as individuals and as a group. We've got to learn how to stand up and believe in ourselves and write our own stories. We've been allowing everyone but ourselves to write our story. We've been allowing others to put limitations, boundaries, and boxes around us and tell us that's the limit of what we're capable of. The truth of the matter is you're only limited by what you conceive in your mind to be impossible. Whatever limits you have is because you created those limits or accepted those limits in your mind. When you start to peel away the layers of limitations, the possibilities become infinite because you are created as a spiritual being. And in your spiritual capacity, there's infinite power. You've got to learn how to access that power. You got to learn how to live with the expectations of that power because life, the universe, God will only meet you at the level of your expectations. I love you guys. I'm going to down E. Yes, I'm going to give life all that I have inside of me. I'm going to down E and I'm going to accomplish everything that I was set on this universe and planet to do. I'm going to down the battlefield fighting for it. Either way, it will leave the legacy that Rick Wallace was here and Rick Wallace made a difference. And he touched lives. And that's what it's about to me. It's pouring into the lives of others and letting them know that what they're looking at in their mind is actually possible. Tearing down the barriers. That's it. Love you guys. I hope this video helped. Again, I encourage you to become a part of the power team. We're building something in there. We're going after dreams. We're elevating our expectations. We're raising our standards. And we're seeing life through a different lens. And we're seeing possibilities that we thought were not possible. We're going to do some things. That group is going to do some things. I encourage you to click that link, become a part of the membership, a year-long membership. You re-up every year, and you have access to me Monday through Friday with a video conference on Thursday. We're going to put in that work. We're going to sit up and develop our own personal edifice of success. We're going to build it from the floor up, and we're going to put in the work. We're going to see the results, and then we're going to go out and we're going to teach other people how to do it. We're going to make the world around us a better place to live. We're going to learn how to impact the world around us. That's the true definition of education. Education is the preparation of an individual to go out into a world and be able to impact that world in a way that's beneficial to them and those they love. That's education. That's it for now. Love you guys. Peace. I'm out.